Saxon Algebra 2, Lesson 105, continued. Oh, iPhone storage issues. I have tons of room on the cloud, but for some reason my phone is suffocating under the video load I'm putting on it. So anyway, that video interrupted, so I'm going to carry on. I believe I had just written this, and I was going to show you how we expand the B term. So we had figured out that -3 and +4 were the two numbers we needed. They multiply to this and they add to that. So what I do is I take my middle term, which was x. I put a 1 in front of it just to kind of help you. And we're going to split that and make these two numbers be two terms that equal this one term. See, I take -3x and +4x, and those two add up to +1x. So I've split this or expanded this B term into two parts. And then I copy the A and the C just as they are. Those don't change at all. Now, here comes the magic. I factor by grouping, which we just learned how to do a couple lessons ago. And the way I do that is I first two, second two, right? Just the way we learned it in that other lesson. And I factor the first part. I see, okay, I can pull a 3x out, and that leaves me with a 2x minus 1. And then on the second part, there's a plus sign, so I put a plus sign there. I can factor a 2 out of this, and look, I get again a 2x plus 1. That's exactly as it should be. I should get the same thing twice. Now, for my final answer, I take together these two scraps and make a binomial out of them, and then I copy the other binomial. I got it twice down here, but I only need to write it once up here. This is our final answer. What do you think? Isn't that cool? I really like it. Okay, let's try another one. 105.2, let me cover it up because I got ahead. It is the worst feeling in the world. I'm sure you've had equivalent when you, I go to turn off, stop the camera right after I finish a lesson and I find out it's already done. Oh, it's so sad. Okay, so our problem is 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. To keep the letters straight with the numbers, you can jot that standard form up here. That reminds me which one's the A, which one's the C. It just helps me keep things straight. So I'm going to multiply A times C, 2, and minus 15. So my A times C value is minus 30. B is -7. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to this and add to that, and I come up with +3 and minus 10. So I take those numbers and I use them to expand this middle term. I have to add the x, right, because it needs to match to this term. So plus 3x and minus 10x equals minus 7x. It has to be the same. Students often ask, how do I know which order to put them in? Spoilers, it doesn't matter. It will work out either way, and I'll explain to you at the end of this problem how that is so. If you're looking at the rest of the problem and you think, oh, I want them to be in a certain order, that's fine. If you don't have a preference, just toss them in any old way and it will work out. I personally don't think about it. I just toss them in. As long as they add back to the B, right? +3 minus 10, that does equal -7. Always check and make sure that you've paid attention to your details. All right? And then again, the A term comes down, the C term comes down exactly the same. Underline and factor by grouping. I pull an x out here and I get 2x plus 3. Now this one's tricky because we have minus signs. So what I look at is, I know I want to get 2x plus 3 again, right? So I think, well, what should I pull out of this that will give me the 2x plus 3? You can think of it that way. It's kind of nice. Pull the -5, and then that gives you 2x plus 3, right? You have to be careful with the signs. But there we have it, and then we just rearrange the pieces. X minus 5 is the first binomial, and then 2x plus 3 is the second. If the binomials don't match, then you've done something wrong. They should always come out the same, right? Now, here's one thing I wanted to say to you. If I would have put these in the opposite order, if I would have written minus 10 plus 3 and factored, what would have happened is I would have gotten x minus 5 in these, and I would have gotten 2x plus 3 that way. So the binomials will appear in the opposite order, if that makes sense. Here, let's just try it. Let's take 2x squared, and let's do minus 10x plus 3x minus 15. I'm just changing the order of those two, right? And we'll factor by grouping. From this, I can pull 2x, and I'm left with x minus 5. And then from this, I can pull a plus 3, and I'm left with x minus 5. So look, what was broken is now in the parentheses, and what was in the parentheses is now the broken piece. Either way, though, I go back to write my answer, 2x plus 3 quantity times x minus 5 quantity, and I get the same answer. Happy days. Order doesn't matter, remember, because when we're multiplying, we don't care what order it's in. It's all good. Okay, now we're done with 105. And if my phone has stopped, you can bet your life I'm going to sit down and cry. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Goodbye.